So, hello, everyone, and welcome back to Divine Rebel. My name is Racey, and I'm going to be doing the reading for you today. Doing it a little bit different. I've taken pictures of the cards, and I'm going to talk about them as we go through. So, basically, what I wanted to ask for the collective, what we're going through right now, I asked my archetype cards by Kim Kranz. What is the overall archetypal energy that is overpowering the other archetypes that we're dealing with right now? And we got the shaman. The top of the deck is the tear, and the bottom of the deck, or the underlying issue, is the thread. So the tear is what's on our conscious mind. It's how we're actually feeling in the now moment. And the underlying reason is the thread. Okay. Then I pulled my vice versa tarot to clarify the energy of the shaman, how that's actually manifesting in our 3D reality. And then I pulled some guidance cards. What is the universe focusing on that we're going through this experience? What do we need to remember the most? And what angels are working with us, and what advice do they bring? So with the shaman is the student. He is also the healer. And he is also like the magician. He deals in the realm of magic and the unknown. And there's a darkness tied to the shaman, because the shaman goes on a journey within the self that closes doors on previous understandings of the self, diving deeper and developing new, fully understood versions of the self. The shamans are known for going into their dark spaces in order to know all of themselves, and that's very much the journey that we're on. There's this really strong feminine underlying energy with, the high priestess here and the strength card here and the feminine face. Even Archangel Ariel came out, as a feminine energy. The tear is about truly consciously allowing ourselves to be sad, allowing ourselves to cry and release because we don't like how we feel. It's the acknowledgement that it can't be held in and suppressed anymore, that the darkness, we're getting in touch with it, that it's coming up to the surface because it can't possibly be pushed down anymore. When we repress our ability or need to cry, we're avoiding looking at what's causing us pain in our reality. We're denying that it's there. I could take it. I'm strong enough. And it's not a matter of being strong enough or being able to take it. It's that you're not supposed to, you don't have to, and you shouldn't be. And that's the thread. That's the underlying issue that says, hey, you're just human. Learning about yourself as a soul through a human experience. You're not alone. You're not feeling this by yourself. You're not a horrible person. You don't deserve to feel like this. You're a heart space that's healing itself. You're a heart space that's healing itself. And its connection with your mind. To remember that you are loved and lovable. To remember that you are not alone. To remember that you are forgiven. To remember that you can and will be shown mercy. That you have compassion for yourself enough to understand where these sad, grieving feelings are coming from. Getting to the bottom of it with the shaman, going inward, right? The journey inward, going in, saying, okay, why do I feel this unhappy? What am I allowing in my experience that's driving me to feel empty? That it would bubble itself up to the surface and I'd cry. That I can't hold it back, What am I denying myself as a soul on a human level? And for a lot of people, it's love. For a lot of people, it's love. When we look into the tarot that came out with it, we got the 8 of Cups, the 10 of Cups, the Wheel of Fortune. Cups are love energy. And we go from the 8 of Cups to the 10 of Cups. The 8 of Cups is feeling like there's a soul wish being unfulfilled in this phase. It's the inner child that is both the mind and the heart working in unison, saying, I'm not happy with the results. I'm not happy with the results. Because even though it made sense to my head when I originally did it, it didn't leave me fulfilled in my heart space. So it's acknowledging where our heart space is empty and where it feels full. going back to what memory you have of what life was really about when it was exciting and it was unknown, like when you were about to embark on a personal journey for yourself for the first time, and you left your whole world behind. You left everybody you knew behind. You left everybody that was once a part of your everyday to go embark on a completely new idea of who you are and who you could become. And you came out of that whole experience a different person, and it made you better in some way. It's being unafraid of change, because we remember when we allowed ourselves change prior, we developed immensely as a soul through this human experience doing that. It's recognizing that you're not fulfilled now. And if your relationship isn't satisfying you, if your job is not satisfying you, if where you live is not satisfying you, if your social circle is not satisfying you, if your family unit is not satisfying you, if it's not supporting you, your reality, your environment is looking around and saying, okay, well, my best thoughts got me here. And when I go inwards to where those thoughts came from and how they were disconnected from my heart space and what felt good for me, what made me happy, when I stopped sacrificing my happiness for other people because my happiness is truly as important as theirs. And I know that with the ripple, when I act on my own happiness, that it does create a way to help everybody else achieve happiness by default. By default. You know, even if it causes them a little darkness or a little pain. You know, because we do have this dark night sky energy. Once you get out of the dark night, right? The dark night of the soul that we go through, or the dark night of the mind, right? It's the dark night of the mind, which is truly what it really is. Because the soul, it's a part of, our soul is our heart and our mind together. And our heart's always in the right place. It's our mind that gets dark. It's our mind that gets filled with fear. It's our mind that our demons play games with us, and we allow ourselves to be manipulated by other people. You know, whether it's, you know, mentally manipulated, emotionally manipulated, psychologically manipulated, like where people are financially manipulating you. You know, they're manipulating your 3D reality and how you live. Like, people are manipulative when it's in the dark night of the mind. When you wake up and you shine light there, when you go in and you shine light there, the 10 of Cups starts to show up. This is the ever-flowing, eternal fountain of all that is love and life. It's the emotional fulfillment. It's what living is really about. And as one 10 moves into another 10, it becomes the light of day. When you choose to go inward in your own mind and say, you know what? This doesn't actually feel good, and I'm going to have to create a couple of my own rules, because, you know, the rules were meant to be followed, but they were not meant to remain by themselves forever, because, you know, no one's a cookie cutter experience with everybody else. We're all unique. Sometimes you have to make your own rules in order to achieve your happiness. And say, you know what, yeah, I grew up with this mentality, or I grew up with that experience, but you know what, I'm repeating those in different ways, and this history doesn't feel good, and I don't want to live it anymore. I don't want to live in that pattern anymore. I don't want to go through cycles like this anymore. I don't want to lose 10 or 20 or 30 years of my life to a decision I can make now. Or my heart space is considered on even par, because the mind hasn't done you any justice. It hasn't given you any fulfillment. It's a dark mind filled with fears and doubts and insecurities and anger and grief and resentment and confusion and ego and pride and lies. I'm a terrible person. I'm an undeserving person. I fucked it up beyond belief. I could never repair it. I could never achieve that. They could never love me again. They would never forgive me. It's all lies. It's all lies. When we go into our own self, when we go into our dark night, it's to emerge into the light as our full-blown self. Your head space and heart space aren't competing with each other on who's right and who manifests better, but they're working together to manifest the best. The Wounded Warrior, the 9 of Wands, on the bottom of the deck is the underlying issue. It's our wounds. It's our deep wounds that are coming to the surface, where our heart space, the feminine energy, is reaching out to the masculine, which is the head space, saying, come on. The heart saying, come on, it's okay. I'm putting my hand out to you. It's okay. You can take my hand. We can do this together. You don't have to get all beat up all by yourself, beating yourself up in your mind. Stop beating yourself up in your mind that it's all fucked up, or that it's all been a waste, or it's all been so terrible and such a struggle and so stressful, and you don't know how you're going to continue like this. Your heart space is saying, hey, it's all right, I'm here. Doesn't matter how many times I got put off. Doesn't matter how many times I was made second. I'm still here for you now. We can manifest better. We can create better. Our lives can be better. We don't have to feel like we're living to die. Living every day feeling like an empty shell. Feeling like we're invisible. We have no purpose and we don't matter. The wheel of fortune is here and it's turning in your favor. With your heart space is strength, right? Because this is the Sphinx. It's a female with a lion's paw. It's the strength of a lion. You know, Archangel Ariel is the lion's heart of God. That's what she represents, the courage of the heart. And she's here. Spread your wings. Take a leap of faith. Universe is asking you to connect to your divine consciousness that is not just your mind. Your mind is just a piece of the consciousness. Your heart's the other part of your consciousness. And it's been tuned out. This thread is reminding you that no matter how many times you've tuned out that heart space part of your consciousness, that thread will always, always be there connecting your mind and your heart. You can never lose that connection. You can never lose your whole consciousness. You can never lose half of yourself. You can think in the dark illusion of the mind, the dark night of the mind, that you have no heart to guide you, that you have no intuition to guide you, that there's nothing in this life that brings you joy, and that you have no purpose, and that life is shitty, and you just fucking work until you die, and you get thrown into situations that suck, and you lose everything, and life is terrible. Like, no. We can't buy into that. We can't buy into that. You are a solid consciousness of mind and heart. And it's putting them both together that truly does create. To remind, the remember card is be creative. To love and devise new ideas, to innovate your life and form new illumination. New illumination in your mind. Your mind is and has always been taught that it's a dark place. The mind is a scary, dark place. That's why we always say, well, God, I'm so glad no one can read my mind. Because our minds are dark. They're filled with self-loathing. They're filled with self-doubt. They're filled with illusion, self-told lies. They're filled with fear. Fear of being vulnerable, fear of being rejected, fear of not being good enough, fear of not being worthy. And we create experiences from that vibration in the mind because it's dark. But when you get creative with your ability to live, and you recognize that you can make any number of choices, and you don't have to settle for any fear-based, any dark void space of thought, you can actually click in and say, you know what? It feels better doing this, though. I feel my best when I'm here. I feel my best when I'm working in this way, when I'm able to flow and be creative and have ideas and go through with an initiation of those ideas, to actually put them into motion, because my ideas are the ones that matter. My ideas are creative and they're innovative. And I like to work that way. In my relationships, maybe there is a new way to be. Maybe I can do something outside of the box and take a leap of faith on someone. Maybe I can illuminate my mind with the truth in my heart space and say, no, it's legit. The truth is there. I can't deny that the truth is there. That's why I'm crying. That's why the tear is present, because I've been denying the truth there. But when we don't deny the truth, when we allow that truth in the heart space to come into the mind and say, you know what, that is an undeniable truth my heart feels, and it matters. That matters. Because if it didn't matter, I wouldn't be crying about it. I wouldn't be missing it. I wouldn't be wishing it was in my life. I wouldn't be wishing I was able to create in that way, or with that person, or in that place, doing this instead. The high priestess energy, we already know intuitively from our heart space, our divine feminine energy within, we already intuitively know what our heart sings for, what it wants to achieve, what it's passionate about, what dreams we've had since we were children, what our skill sets all align for. We all have great strengths, and we're not meant to be a one-man show or a one-woman show. There's other people in the world and other energies that benefit your creative spark that is self-loving, rippling to others, teaching them how to better love themselves and follow your lead. No, this is what it looks like. This is what choosing to love yourself looks like. This is what choosing to love yourself can achieve. When you put your best foot forward for you, this is what you can achieve. This is what you can get. This is what results. When you love yourself and put your best foot forward, there's no limit to the happiness that you can achieve. It's a limitless, ever-flowing faucet of happiness. Because you've turned it on within yourself, allowed yourself to receive it, take actions towards it. It's being proactive. So that everybody else in your immediate surrounding that causes the tears can also have their time to heal whatever their inner demons are in their dark night of the mind. They have to go through it too. We all do. We all do. So stepping away and going into your own darkness and shining light there so that you can be illuminated in your truth and live your best life allows other people to go through their dark night of the mind and also illuminate in their own individual darkness what it is that would illuminate their life. One person in the dark refusing to illuminate around a bunch of people that are also unilluminated is just darkness on top of darkness, creating more darkness and rippling more darkness. More fear state, more insecurities, more manipulation, more control. And it's time to shut the door on control. It's time to acknowledge the heart space and surrender to the fact and acknowledge the fact that that's there and it's not going anywhere. The truth in your heart space doesn't change like the fear state in your mind. The truth in your heart is always the same. It's what you've always wanted to achieve. It's what you always wanted to experience from the time you were young. Unconditional love, joy, happiness, abundance, prosperity. We forgot that there's a thread connected to our heart space that never goes away, and we can't deny what's there. We can't turn it off. We already intuitively know if we're getting ourselves into a fucking nightmare for the next 10, 20, 30 years, or if we're changing the script, letting the wheel of fortune turn in our favor. It's a choice, as all things in life are. This is about connecting to your divine consciousness. This is about expanding from just your mind into your heart space and allowing them to work together, interconnection, light. Light. You know, I was thinking of atoms and ions, going off on a little side tangent. If you think about how simple this is, an atom is a negative electron, negative ion, an electron, and a proton, with neutrons, of course, but a proton, which is positive ions. And they're both light. Electrons and protons are both light. One is negative and one is positive, but they're both light. The darkness is the in-between. The unknown, the dark space in our consciousness is the space in between. But in that in-between state where there is seemingly nothing is a known connection a force that keeps the proton and electron together no matter what, in perfect orbit. Something can come in and knock an electron off and create all kinds of imbalance, but at the end of the day, when it restabilizes, that electron will always come back when it's available to fill that space. Just the word atom, if you think about it, it's at-om. Om, O-M. At-om, it's a oneness vibration. We're not actually separate, but one all the time, our own inner duality. We might think our head space and heart space are separate, but they're not, and they function together despite the space between them. The space between them, if you think about the mind, right? The crown chakra and the third eye and the heart chakra, the feminine. What's in between is the truth, the throat chakra. That's what's in between. The dark space in between that is seemingly nothing is the truth. And it's the truth that always keeps your head and your heart in alignment. And we can manifest fuck up after fuck up, and we can make mistake after mistake, and we can have regret after regret. But it's always the truth that sets us free. The clarity, the light in the darkness, is that there's really no darkness at all. It's just a part of it. It's a part of its function. It's how we exist. We wouldn't be vibrational beings if the electrons and the protons were attached to each other. We wouldn't vibrate. Everything is a vibration. Everything is energy. It's what keeps it flowing. It's necessary. Ions, I-on. People that either think from their heart and jump with their heart and live life with their heart. It's that heart's ego element on. I-on. No different with the mind. Ego on, the mind on. Separately, they both crash. Just a proton without any mental clarity, space, process, thinking, reasoning is a mess. And when you're all logic and all mind and you're doing things by the book and what looks good on paper and you're not looking at the heart space's say on it, it always crashes and burns. It's never as perfect as it seems. There's always something that falls through, always something that collapses, because the mind can't possibly understand how to get around all of the heart space's truth. You got to have both. And so this is the message in divine time. If you're catching this, this is the message in divine time. It's a let yourself cry. Let yourself feel it. Let yourself break. Let yourself understand that the reality you've created is causing you pain. Something's got to give because your heart space is calling for it. To be brave. Archangel Ariel, to be brave. Do not hold back right now. The timing is perfect and you are ready to soar. You're ready to connect to yourself as you've ever been. You're ready to connect to yourself. If you're all up in your mind, you got some heart out there manifested that's ready for you. And vice versa. You've got your balance out there. You just got to remember that you're already balanced within. And you can love just like they do, or you can create just like they can. Even if it's in a different way. Don't doubt the happiness you can create when you tune in. And that is the message. So, I hope you all enjoyed it. Make sure you like and subscribe and share and everything else. I really appreciate all the support on the channel. Anybody who wants to follow me more, you can get my information on the description below. I do a lot of stuff on Facebook through the Divine Rebel Readings page and even on my profile. It's all there. Plus, we have a beautiful team of members in the Ascension team. The link is below. And then we have an all welcome, the Greater Holistic Community group where everybody is free to post, reader or seeker. It doesn't matter. It's just all shared, resonation and things like that. So until next time, guys, Divine Rebel Racey signing off. Love each other. And most importantly, always love yourself. Bye.